guys, welcome to another episode of Disciple Thoughts. I am your host, Mpondams, and we are still engaging in a series of getting to know Jesus based on the 7 I am declarations that he makes in the Gospel of John. And today we are focusing on the second one, wherein Jesus declares that he is the light of the world. We find it in John 8, verse 12, wherein again Jesus says, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. We are introduced to the concept of light in the beginning of creation, wherein God says that let there be light. But before this, though, we are exposed to darkness first, wherein in the beginning the Bible will say that the earth was formless and empty, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. And many interpretations will tell you that this is a state of incompleteness and disorder. You know, it's chaos, so meaning that wherever there is darkness, there is disorder. And it's no wonder light is the first thing that God creates, because I've always asked myself, why is light the first thing that God creates? But logic will tell you that darkness in and of itself it's barren, it's unproductive. There's nothing good or fruitful that can emerge out of darkness. Unlike light, light produces life. Not to even be deep, let's look at a plant. A plant source of survival comes from the light. And that's just showing its ability to produce life. Where in darkness lacks the ability to create, or to nurture anything that is positive. And I think that is why even after God created the light, the Bible says that he saw that it was good, and everything else after that, he saw that it was good. And I think it's because he created it in the light, through the light, and everything that is born of the light is good. Anything that is produced in the light is good. And I say all of that to talk about the relationship between the lightness and the darkness. I always find it interesting how the dark cannot exist in the light. Just even in a general sense, not even to be spiritual about it, just the fact that you cannot bring darkness in a room that has light, but you can bring light in a room that is dark. Light does exist in darkness, but darkness cannot exist in the light. Even the Bible talks about this when it says that the light shines through the darkness. It shines in the darkness, but the darkness cannot overcome the light. And what's even more interesting is the fact that darkness is literally the absence of light. Okay, obviously, that's even the definition of darkness, is that it's the absence of light, meaning that it only exists when there is no light. So it's reliant on the absence of light. And so it's almost as if in essence it does really not exist. If there is light, it does not exist, because it's only reliant on the fact that there is no light. And so when Jesus makes the declaration of him being the light of the world, it's a bold statement, because now we know this is a fact that in general darkness cannot consume light. Period. Darkness cannot consume light. So when he makes this declaration, he is saying that there is no amount of darkness that can contain me, because I am the light of the world. And where there is light, there is no darkness. And really, this is what we see on the cross. Jesus' declaration on being the light of the world is proven on the cross. Jesus rising above death. Death and sin is, I don't know, like that's the ultimate agent of darkness. Like death and sin is the power of darkness. Like, yes. That's death and sin is really what gives darkness its ultimate power. And so on the cross, we see that not even death could have contained Jesus. Not even sin, the ultimate power of darkness, could not even contain Jesus. Why? Because in virtue of him being the light, light can't be consumed by darkness. Like, it does not matter how dark, like how power, it does not matter. The fact that he is light, he could not be defeated by death and sin because he is the light. And wherever there is light, darkness does not exist. Because again, darkness is reliant on the absence of light. Only reliant. It only exists where there is no light. And so in Jesus being the light of the world, and if anything, this declaration brings hope to humanity. Like, I think it's saying that, I remember listening to a sermon, and Jackie was preaching about hope, right? And her message was, if we really believe that Jesus died and rose from the dead, and right now he is seated at the right hand of his Father's throne, then we have all the reason to hope. Like, we don't need God to create another miracle now for us to hope for tomorrow, because the fact that we already believe that Jesus is on the other side, if we already believe that Jesus is on the other side, then we have all the reason to hope. And I think that's why the Bible encourages us to look onto the cross, because by virtue of Jesus being the light, he overcome the darkness, and hence the call for us to walk in the light. To walk in the light, because that way the darkness cannot consume us. And I think that's why I always say that the light is one of God's greatest gifts he has ever given to humanity. Even the Bible says that light is sweet. How pleasant is it for the eye to see a new day dawn? Because light comes with so much hope. Like, to see, and it's something that we just take for granted, seeing a new day. So now I always feel like it's that thing that says that it does not matter how it does not matter how dark yesterday was. It does not matter how difficult yesterday was. It does not matter how deep yesterday's sin was. But for the fact that God today said, I'm going to wake you up to see this day, that is hope. Like, it does not matter. For as long as you are in this day, I think that is God saying that walk in the light today. It does not matter what you did yesterday. But if you pursue the light today, if you walk in the light today, the darkness will not consume you. Maybe yesterday you did not walk in the light, but today, hence I'm giving you another day to see the light so that you can walk in it. And so I think we really need to take the call of walking in the light, being the children of the light, seriously. Because that is literally the only way that will have us not consumed by sin. Again, sin is what gives darkness its power. And so when we walk in the light, when we walk in the light, we can't be consumed by sin. Because by virtue of us being in the light, it can't be consumed by darkness. We can't be consumed. We can't be consumed. Like, isn't that good news? That for as long as we walk in the light, like, the darkness has no choice but to not consume it, because we are in the light. Like, it's not even that it has no choice, it's the fact that it's non-existent when we are in the light. Like, sin, we are not subject to sin when we are in the light. We are not subject to it. It has no power over us. Because Jesus, as being the light of the world, he overcame darkness. And I think that's why, he says that remain in me and I in you. That way we will produce good fruit. He says that without me, you cannot produce anything good. We see it in the beginning, wherein God first created the light, and after the light, everything that he created was good. So it is only in the light that good fruit is produced, that goodness comes out. I don't know if that makes sense. And so that is it from me today. Jesus says that you are the light of the world. 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 And so if you are the light of the world, you cannot be consumed by death. You cannot be consumed by sin. So it does not matter, Shem. It just does. And I hope this is not giving people a pass to sin. I'm just saying, Hore, what you did yesterday does not define today's walk with God. Like, for the fact that you are seeing the light today, that is a call for you to walk in the light today. Like, it does not matter, regardless of how dark yesterday was. The fact that he gave you a new day to see today, that's a call for you to do better today, so that we are not consumed by the dark. Okay, I'm being repetitive. Guys, I'll see you next week. Bye.